All right, y'all. Beats, Rhymes, y Comunidad, episode 3. Ladies and gentlemen, do not panic. Do not adjust your television sets. This is not a replay of week two's episode, but we are very delighted and pleased to have our former guest, Marjorie Anderson, filling in today as co-host. Welcome,
Hey,
Marjorie. You're back you're
thank you.
back so quickly.
I know.
And in the driver's seat as well. You're the co-pilot for this week.
Listen, thanks to I'm sorry that Merlinda is under the weather, but also
Yeah,
thanks for having me back.
exactly. Shout out to Miss Merle. She's feeling a bit under the weather this week, and her voice isn't so great. So I'm very, very grateful that you were able to fill in on such short notice. So really appreciate that. Yeah. How's it going? It's the middle of the week. Hump day. Is it
It
busy?
is the middle of the week. It's very busy, and I need it to
Yeah,
be Friday post haste. I need it to be Friday yesterday.
I hear that. I hear that for
These weeks
sure.
get longer and longer, but January came in like it had some place to be, and how is it almost May? How is tomorrow May? Is the thing that I'm trying to just wrap my brain around.
Exactly. The whole year is just going by I feel like the older we get, the faster it goes, which kind of makes sense, right? Because when you're younger, it's like when you're 4 years old, 1 year is literally a quarter of your life, right? So it's just like
Yep.
whole the perception of time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's remember when we were younger and we would have summer break for 3 months and it felt like years. And now we're
Mhm.
like, where did those 3 months go?
Yeah. I didn't even get to go to the beach.
Right.
What's going on? I love that.
Exactly.
How are things going over at Exos? We didn't really dive too much into your work there, but director of community at Exos, a company that is focused on taking a holistic approach to health. I feel like that is a trend now with a lot of brands and organizations, but what would you say is different about Exos's approach and what makes you gravitate and believe in it?
Yeah. So I think the thing that's markedly different about Exos' approach is that that is their business. Their business initially started out in the corporate fitness and well-being space. And so what they're starting to do is really expand on what that means and talk to organizations about how being how fitness and well-being not just gets you ready physically, but it gets you ready mentally for all of the moments that matter in your life, whether you're training for your next marathon, whether you're getting ready for a big board meeting, whether you are trying to get yourself set to take on the week with your kids, whatever that is. A lot of what comes out of Exos's methodology and the way that they work is really to help people get ready for the moments that matter. And so that holistic approach to how we help you show up in a much better way, it's all rooted in deep research. And I'm a data nerd, so the more data points you give me to help people, the better. And so for me, that's really important, and I really believe in the work that they do. So it's definitely a different world, and I get all these cool fitness perks because of the kind of company that they
Yes.
are. So
Gotta love that.
yeah, and it's from all facets. It's not just here's how we think about training the body, but it's also here's what we know about the neuroscience of the mind, and here's what we know about what it means to change habits, and here's what we
Ah.
know about nutrition. So it's a deeply research based, fact proven approach to the way that they do work. So
Kind of reminds me a little bit of that fitness app. I think it's called Loom, like taking an approach from like behavioral science.
mhm,
I love that. Cool.
yeah,
Awesome.
good stuff.
One of the questions that came to mind, you had mentioned that you ask prospective clients that you work with a very specific set of questions to assess whether or not they're ready for community. Can you share what some of those questions are? Maybe you don't have to get too specific. I don't want to give away your IP on the air like this, but maybe at a high level, just sort of what that vetting process looks like and what are some of the things you might ask?
Yeah, so I generally just start with three basic questions, because if you're not super clear on the answers to these questions, this is stuff that we can probably dig into and talk about as part of the discovery process. But if we dig deeper and you still can't answer them, then there's a good indication that this is not something that you're ready to embark on. So the first question is, why community and why now? Like, what in your ecosystem, what in your world has changed that has made you think about implementing a community program as part of your overall business strategy? Why is it important to the business? What are your members going to get out of it? What are the things that you are trying to accomplish through this community? How ready are you for the time that it takes to build and see some tangible ROI come out of that, if that is the thing that you're looking for, right? And when I say ROI, for me, community is always about return on impact, not return on investment, because that investment, you got to put money in before you see money come out. And so what's the impact that you're trying to drive there? So there's the why questions. Then who is this community for? Are you clear about who needs to be here, who doesn't need to be here? What are they going to do when they're here? What is the expectation in terms of behavior change that you expect to see as they engage in this whole program? So it's why, who, and then how are you going to support these folks when they're here? And that really gets into questions around resourcing. Are you willing to put in the time, the money, the resources needed in order to ensure that this community flourishes and grows and realizes the vision that you have set for it? And so those are some very specific questions that I try to get into with folks. And if they just can't get to answers for those, if they're just like, if it's very apparent that they've heard people talk about community and they're like, yeah, we need a community too, I'm like, well, I can't in good conscience continue with work that way. Like, if you want to bring someone else on who's willing to just build it for you, then great. But at the end of the day, because people are involved, and ripping a community out from underneath folks when it quote unquote doesn't work because you didn't get it right up front, has lasting effects, whether folks think it does or not. So I can't in good conscience embark on work where that vision's not clear and those answers aren't clear. So yeah.
Are there any trending responses from folks that have, in your experience, have become like sort of like telltale flags of like, hey, it sounds like this one's saying something that I've heard before from someone else who wasn't ready for community, where, that we might be able to dig out some common misconceptions from brands and orgs that think they're ready but are really not?
Yeah, one that I hear is and continue to hear, even though I don't hear it as much, as, oh, community is a competitive moat. And I'm like,
competitive moat.
What? And I'm like, explain to me what that means. And so they're like, we think this will be the differentiator for us, and this is why people will come to us and spend money with us versus going with another company. And I'm like,
right,
okay, so that's a red flag. And then always, if they start and lead with revenue, that's always a red flag. Yeah. Like, if they're like, we really want to be able to figure out new ways to bring in revenue, or if they're talking more about audience versus engagement and connection, then that's a red flag. So those are the things that I listen out for. And sometimes you dig deeper and you can actually get to the heart of what they mean. And sometimes they actually do mean, no, I really want to build a space for people to do X, Y, and Z because we have a miss on our side of the business and we think that this can help with that, versus, well, we really just want to get more money out of people and create another marketing funnel. And so, like, if that's your jam, then fine. But like, there's many ways to create a marketing funnel. There's many ways to generate revenue. Are you sure you don't need a different strategy around customer engagement or something else like that versus a community? And so that's where I think those harder conversations come in. But those are three big red flags that I usually hear.
Yeah, I definitely could have guessed the revenue one, right? It's like, guys, if you're really just chasing the bag, then maybe community is not for you. Maybe instead chase your purpose would rather be the recommendation, right? I love that. Well, pivoting right over into the culture side of things, we've got a wonderful guest lined up for this week. By the name of DJ Bianca G. Now, I think this is very appropriate because last week I saw that the Temple of Hip Hop, an organization that I am a steward of, I am a certified hip hop cultural specialist under the tutelage of KRS-One and the Temple of Hip Hop. So it was delightful for me to see that this year's theme for Hip Hop Appreciation Week, which I believe is taking place in May, May 17th through the 25th, something like that. It's a global celebration, and this year's theme is focusing on the element of the DJ. For those who out there who don't know, hip hop is 4 to 5 elements. So the fifth one's a little bit debatable, but definitely the DJ, the MC, graffiti, and breaking. Right. The fifth being knowledge. But folks have there's been debate about whether the fifth one should really be knowledge or whether it should be fashion. But yeah, I'm glad to have DJ Bianca G joining us this week. Marjorie, are there any DJs that you are like super big fans of? I know that I turn to DJs quite often when I'm just too lazy to make a playlist for myself, and you just need a mix that'll put you in a good mood, a good vibe. Are there any ones that you turn to?
No one in particular. It depends on my mood. Do I want to hear something that's more Afro beats? Do I want to hear something that is hip hop? Do I want to hear something that's a little bit of a mix of the two? Like, do I want to hear something with a right in the middle of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't have anyone super specific, but I think a conversation around DJs is important because at the end of the day, whether they realize it or not, they really set the tone for like how you feel in a space when you're coming in and you're listening to music. You can be having a crappy day, and if you come in and the DJ is not spinning, like if they're not giving you something, like it can set the whole mood off. And so, like, shout out to good DJs out there that are doing their thing. I had a friend who her husband was a DJ, and we would go to the club that he DJ'd at every Saturday night. This is when I was much younger. I don't go to the club anymore, but we would go to the club every Saturday night, and he would just do a phenomenal job. And to the point where I was like, hey, ask your husband to give me a disc of his mix from last Saturday night. And so, and I still have it to this day. But yeah, they set the tone for how you feel and how people interact. Like, they play an important part in setting the mood and setting the culture of a space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my benchmark for a truly talented DJ is one that can mix and blend multi-genre, right? Someone who can create a mix doing hip hop, doing salsa, doing rock, doing, like any genre of music. And I think that as we head into the future, there's a lot of talk about DJs who learn to scratch on vinyl and the ones who are just out there now just pushing buttons. And I think that there's a correlation there between work ethic when it comes to the entertainment side of things and conversations that we have in the community space now around AI and how that it's going to replace folks and community managers, but you always need that that human element.
Oh, for sure. There is nothing like hearing a good mix where the actual record is being scratched like that. There is something very different about that versus a fade in and fade out. And I'm not like shading people who use those sorts of methods to DJ, but I can get behind someone who knows how to scratch and then introduce new tunes like the old way. And I think what I'm seeing a return to that because vinyl is making a comeback. And so like people are returning to those ways. And so at the end of the day, you can't auto set good vibes at the end of the day, right? Like you have to be very intentional about it. So you have to make sure that there's a human element. If you set it and forget it, what's the intentionality behind that?
What's the purpose?
Like if you're if you're going to be a DJ, be intentional about your craft and how you make people feel through it. So the same thing with community. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with all that beautiful thing being said, let's hop into the mix. I'm gonna try and step it up this week. We might go back to my man Tony Touch for the music vibes this week, but I want to make sure that rather than just having the cover artwork for his mixes displayed throughout the mix, bringing some of that Temple of Hip Hop vibes to this. There's definitely some educational materials that I'm gonna bake into the mix. So take a peek at the screen while you're vibing out and doing your co-working session. But yeah, there's gonna be some good nuggets in there. Thank you so much, Marjorie, for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone next week.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
You got it. Peace, y'all.
Peace to all. Every third week in May, the Temple of Hip Hop celebrates its culture during Hip Hop Appreciation Week. This year's theme is DJing, the fourth element of hip-hop. Originators like Grand Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, and DJ Tony Tone from the Cold Crush Brothers paved the way for hip-hop DJs worldwide. From May 19th to the 25th, the Temple of Hip-Hop and hip-hoppers around the world will teach, learn, and preserve the legacy of DJing. Check out the templeofhiphop.org for more information and stay in tune for future events.
One, two, 1, 2. Please, man, don't get with that bullshit. So let's do a little something like this. El Shabazz.
Yo, Jay.
It's time to rock a rhyme.
What kind of rhyme?
The kind of rhyme that kicks the y'all behind. I'll rhyme it.
I'll mix it.
And we both too fine. Take a skeezer to the Chris Nacho over Calvin Klein's El Shabazz.
Yo, Jay.
Our rhymes are fly.
How fly?
So fly that it's sweet like pie. And the pie so fly the girls all want to try El Shabazz.
Yo, Jay.
It's time to rock our shit.
What kind of shit?
The kind of shit that made Wilson flip. So you use a brush, I use a comb, not a pick. El Shabazz.
Yo, Jay.
El Shabazz.
Yo, Jay.
We gonna rock this motherfucker like three the hard way.
Like this show.
This show.
This show.
This show.
This show.
Yeah, one time for your mind. It's Tony Touch and we live. Rap 38, you know the flavor. Summer of 94. Touch and destroy, kicking down your door. Check it out. I get biz cause I has to, cut so much faster, past the Dutch master as I get a blast of the ism. Kick a quick verse on the rhythm, make a fat tape, rap 38. Bushwick, New York's where I dwell and got props. The shit is mad hot, but we blowing up the spot. I know you be scheming, but kid, you can't handle this. Peeps in Puerto Rico all the way to Los Angeles. Destroy, grab the mic and get ill as I proceed to flex with the skill.
What up, what up? It's the sick pup from the wilderness. Go snatchers, touch and destroy, getting ill and pissed. Suckers play the field, stay real and all that. Niggas recognize we're coming soon to a doormat near you. I Tony Touch gets more lifted. Mess with destroy and you get your jaw shifted. Getting my props, so start seeking your own. Rap 38 and I'm reeking to the bone.
get your girly blush. It's the mad bum Russian, funky with percussion from LA to Flushing. I get you. Well, it's the mad bum Russian, funky with percussion. Well, it's the mad bum Russian, funky with percussion. Well, it's the mad bum Russian, funky with percussion. Well, it's the mad bum Russian, funky with percussion from LA to Flushing. I get your girly blush, touch it like a butcher, but it ain't a biter. I'm suit. When it's time to rock a funky joint. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky jam, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky jam, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky jam, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky jam, I'm the man. I'm ill, and all so don't get me started. I might lose my cool, you lose if we do. Cause I can stomp a hole in the soul of a punk with the rhymes in my head and the beats in my trunk. I got skill, kid, and I'm on the milk it. For all it's worth, I'm getting mines on nerve. So step to the next head, or like Sadat X said. He's gone, and that's how it's supposed to be. Don't stand so close to me, cuz. Don't stand so close to me, cuz. Don't stand so close to me, cuz. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm the man. When it's time to rock a funky joint, I'm on point.
Just have a seat and
today I'm super duper excited to introduce an individual that I am meeting for the first time today. She's a DJ, she's a software engineer, she is a fashionista, a designer. I mean, take a look at what we got going on in the background, okay?
I'm a whole lot. You're
a whole lot of
stuff.
Yeah, you're a whole bag of goodies,
yeah,
man.
A whole bag of goodies.
I can't even really summarize it for you right now. We're just gonna uncover the gems as we go through this.
As we go through this, yes.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh
I really appreciate you.
gosh.
I'm so glad that we finally met.
And
so
it just so happens to be the third time that you are seeing the gospel of hip hop in person, as we learned earlier.
Yes, which is a sign for me to go pick it up and read the book.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I got the hookup because you know, certified hip hop culture specialist.
Let's do
under
this.
the tutelage of KRS-One. Not stunning on you at all, at all. But yo, thank you so much for being here. Let's just get into what brought us together. Our brother in community, the Great Sway Calloway.
Yes.
So
Great Sway Calloway.
I heard you in the mix in Sway in the Morning, right? The last time that he was out here in LA.
Oh man.
Right?
That was one of the most amazing.
How long ago was that? Was that like what?
Man,
couple of months now,
yeah,
right?
a couple months.
Like 2 months ago.
Yeah. But it was one of the funniest things that happened on that morning show with my mix was that it was like a little morning party. You know what I mean? Like everyone was coming in and out of the DJ booth, and you know, it was just like everybody was just so excited. Everyone's coming out of the DJ booth, and I remember there was like one point in the song. I was playing an Eazy-E joint, and there was one point in the song where it was like F Dre, F.
Yeah.
And everyone came in, and I was like, it's because I was so distracted. I let it play, and Sway was like, yo, everyone's gonna be calling us, being like, yo, get that DJ off. It was funny. Was it the kind of entertainment? Was it the kind of thing that it was just like, oh, this is morning drive radio, so that kind of deal? Yeah, you know, and that's part of DJing. You know, sometimes we get distracted because we're just so full of energy. Everybody in the room is a huge dynamic, and I lose track. Sometimes I've been at parties where songs like keep going till the end, and I'm like, oh. Exactly. But let's talk about that because that is the first thing that I noticed about you is the energy that you were delivering, not only through your skills as a DJ and the mix itself, like enjoying the songs, enjoying the transitions, you know, how you went from one song to another, but also the way you show up and your presence in the mix, during the mix. Oh, man, you know, thank you. Because, you know, I've heard a lot of DJs. You know, shout out to Tony Touch, by the way. I'm wearing your hat. Shout out to Touch. I'm visiting. Tony Touch. I know you, man. I know you, man. For real. I know you too, bro. I know you too. I had to come wearing the merch that I've accumulated. But anyway, listen, we'll get back to you, Toka. All right? Yes, exactly. Anyway. I've heard a lot of DJs that show up vocally within their mixes. Right. And the way that you do it came across so warm and inviting and just fun. Right. You know? Everybody says that. I was just like, oh, this is taking the music to another level, bro. I love it. She's out here saying some shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking through the records. And it's not just like the typical, DJ, you know? Like, I'm taking you on a journey. I'm speaking through the records. I'm elevating your experience. Yes. You know, I'm bringing my energy into the environment and I'm adding value to the room. You know what I'm saying? That is the one thing that I want to do in my career to make sure that I just expand and explode that great positive energy into the crowd. You know, a lot of DJs, they play music because they feel the music, right? And then you'll go into a room and you'll be like, ooh, I feel that. You know what I'm saying? And then it brings you, it changes the frequency of how you feel. Me, I want to go, when I play, the goal is to like raise the vibration. Yes. Raise the frequency. So you have a few, you got a lot of brands and shit going on, but what you just said made me think specifically about your fitness brand and your fashion brand. Specifically the one that is just like, oh, finally I have a place to keep all my ideas.
Right.
What's that one called?
House of Bianca G.
Oh, how silly of me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right here.
That's right. House of Bianca G, man. It's the mothership of all babies.
Of all babies.
Yeah.
That didn't happen overnight.
No.
And not all of it starts from such a positive place.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what that looked like for you.
Okay, so I've always been a very resilient child.
Okay.
Always. And I've always been someone who's figured it out. You know, I'm a teen mom. I had my daughter at 17 years old.
Wow.
And I was a single teen mom. You know what I'm saying? Making $4.25 an hour. No driver's license. You know what I'm saying? Working at the movie theater. And I've been through a lot in my life, so I've always been resilient, always figured it out.
Right.
You know, even as a little kid, and I think it's a gift from God to be able to do something like that at such a young age.
Yes.
I remember there's times I'd be in my bedroom and there wasn't anything in my room, and I'd have a blast. I wouldn't have a TV, I wouldn't have a stereo, I'd have no friends, maybe like a couple outfits, you know what I'm saying? And I would have a blast. It was just something that I was gifted with, is resilience and figuring it out and just making do is something that I always had. So it wasn't done overnight at the capacity now, but it was definitely a strength that I built and mastered throughout my life.
You have What's Up Bianca G, right?
Yeah.
And you're up to episode 5.
Yes.
And I took a look at it. Looks great.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. I love it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did that journey look like for you as you were starting out? You know, like you have DJ experience, so you probably like kind of hit the ground running, right? In terms of setting yourself up for success. What was that process like? Did you just breeze through it, or?
Oh my gosh. So I did that by myself and like one filmer, and I just directed the whole thing, and I wrote the whole thing, and I just did the whole thing by myself.
Wow.
Just figuring it out.
Wow.
You know, as I went. But here are the tools that got me there. I always tell people, like, give yourself a chance to marinate. You know, a lot of people, they sit around, they think about an idea, and they're like, okay, now we're ready. Which is great. That's fine. That's what I did too. I was like, okay, now I'm ready. But then you have to allow yourself to also do trial and error and test.
Right.
So I did the 5 episodes. I watched it. I saw the things that needed to change, the lighting. There are other things like maybe the sound, maybe sponsors on certain areas. Where can I grab that makes sense for the brand? That's where all the studying comes, and like you go back to the drawing board, right?
Yes.
And then you come back better.
Talk to me about, you were born and raised in the Philippines.
Yes.
You come over to LA at the age of 5.
5.
Right?
1987.
And you hated it when you first got here. Right?
Hated it. Didn't speak any English. I was like, where am I? What is this? This is crazy.
What did you love about growing up in the Philippines that made you hate coming to the States? Like, what was the biggest difference that you were like, oh, fuck this place?
Yeah, it felt very country, you know? It felt home. It felt like you were in the islands, you know? It felt free. Right, when you're on the island, it's free. Being
in the Philippines, right?
Yeah, like I felt very like controlled when I came to America. In the Philippines, you're free, you're running free. I got like goats and monkeys, and I'm running around, and there's open areas, and people are selling juices on the road, and it's hot. And all the neighbors' houses are open. Everyone's always out and about, and it's just like when I came to America, I just saw like everything was so manufactured and separated. You know, in the Philippines, it's like, oh, my neighbor's house is next door, but how you get there is you got to go under the gate, and you got to open the side, and then you're going to see a guava tree, and then from the guava tree, like, you know, that's how you jump over, and then that's how you get to the neighbor's house, and then the cook's going to come out, she's going to ask you what you want to eat, and then she's going to take you to the store with her, you're going to pick out the fish. Like, you know, it's an experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then here it's like, McDonald's.
When
you first come. Oh, have you ever eaten at McDonald's? Because at the time it was the 80s, right? They're
right.
Like, you ever have a Happy Meal? Because the Philippines doesn't have a Happy Meal. And I'm like,
I'm glad it doesn't.
You get a toy. And I'm like, so? Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't land well.
Yeah, so I think having that, like, that strong cultural background of being born and raised in a third world country is what makes me, one, obviously appreciate things a lot more, and two, simple. I'm a very simple person, but I got a complicated mind. I can make amazing, expensive things, but I'm so simple.
Right. Right.
Super, super simple. I could just be in a bathing suit eating a coconut.
There you go.
On the beach and be like, wow, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. So, growing up in the Philippines and knowing how much you know about it, like, are there any places like that where people really go for like the historical richness of it?
Oh God, I love how you said that. Oh my gosh, we have so many islands.
Yeah.
And everything is, they say, I would say magical. In a way, and I love that we're talking like this because it's almost like magic.
Yes.
You go to these little islands, and there's people that are there that still live like the cartoons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like they don't know about malls.
Mm-hmm.
They don't speak English.
Indigenous.
Yeah.
Straight up indigenous.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I definitely look forward to visiting every single one of those islands and exploring that one day. But that should be a documentary for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like stories too, like historical stories of things and people that they talk about that some say they've seen and some say they haven't.
Yeah.
Like there's, I don't want to scare anybody, but like they talk about these dwarves. Like there's like a place in the Philippines where there's dwarves. Like small little magical people, and they say that they live in trees, and they say you should never knock on the tree, you should never disrespect the tree because they will come out and they'll put spells on you. So like, and I was like a little kid, I was like, oh my God, like I'm just gonna always respect every single tree, but people have actually seen them. Yeah. If you're Filipino, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about duendes. You guys know what
duendes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there are places, if not a lot of places in the Philippines to explore.
We'll talk about how Filipinos and Puerto Ricans in Jersey were.
Yeah.
What did the dynamic between Filipinos and Latinos look like coming up on the West?
Oh man, that was, so I felt like I definitely blended more with the Latinos. And growing up in LA, I mean, when I came, it was like mid LA, but I would kick it in like East LA, like all over LA. I'd have friends all over the map. And I just went to one school, but everyone was from everywhere. Everyone took the bus.
Word.
And I always related to the Latinos because I was in that part of LA.
Yeah.
And it felt much the same when it came to like family gatherings and the food and like the love and the warmth and looking out for each other. And so, that was where I was able to like relate and make more friends. For some reason, I don't know if it's an East LA thing, because I'm not familiar with East LA schools now, but it was more Latinos. It was like 90% Latinos in school, and like 2% like Filipinos.
So
all the Filipinos were in Glendale, Echo Park, Eagle Rock. You know what I mean? And I was like in like mid LA. Yeah.
So strong sense of community from that perspective, right? Very warm, very receptive.
Yeah. Receptive, yep.
What did you notice in your upbringing about any divisiveness that you might have observed? That it was the opposite of that?
Oh man, they didn't understand what Asians were.
Who's they?
Like the Latinos.
Really?
Yeah.
In what sense?
I was called a Chinese peanut in school before.
Chinese peanut?
They thought I was Chinese.
Oh, I got it.
They didn't understand what yeah, man. I'm gonna take that with me forever.
Sin vergüenza. You guys,
shame on you.
get it together, please.
I took a step back on my DJ career. And I went to the beat junkie school.
Okay.
Because I felt like I was disconnected to the music as a DJ.
Right.
You know, and I was DJing for years. I'm talking like I took off on my career after 6 months. I was already rocking the club. That's how I met Tony. I met Tony like a year after I was already DJing, Tony Touch.
Yes.
I was in New York. I was doing a lot of things. But for so long, I was disconnected. I was disconnected. I didn't know how to scratch. I didn't know, and you know, a lot of people say, oh, you don't need to learn how to scratch. You don't. But when you do, it feels good. Now the record feels good.
That should be a prerequisite, man.
Yeah, but I know the record feels good, and then now you can get paid to do scratches. And then now your performance is elevated, but it doesn't make you less of a DJ because you don't know it. It's just saying, hey, if you want to learn how to run, put on these sneakers versus running in those shoes. Yeah. I want you to run good. I want you to play good. I want you to go good.
Yeah, don't just hop into a pair of shoes just because they got wheels under the soles.
And we could talk about talk about DJing and marketing and how it's just kind of pimping out the craft, bro.
Well,
I'll talk about that if you want to.
Let's definitely touch on that, but hold that thought just for a moment. Let's get it documented on the show.
Okay.
Take us from vinyl to Serato. What's the evolution of the DJ in terms of mediums, equipment, technology? Break it down.
Okay, so I started with vinyl. Why vinyl was important? It helped you understand the breakdown of a song. It helped you understand where things started, where things ended. Okay. And it also helped you understand importance of BPM and transition, right? Because you're like, okay, and you had to figure this stuff out. Okay, it wasn't something that you just like, some records had it, some records didn't. Then it taught you patience of like digging and finding, and it made you appreciate a DJ because I'm like, well, how did you find that? You know, that's the number one thing about vinyl. How did you find that? Where did you find that? I'm not telling you. This is a white label record. I figured this out on my own, and someone will be like, yeah, I figured this out on my own in some random like thrift store and like across the world because I was there with my grandma. Like there was a story for every record that they had. So when they would play a set, you'd be like, wow, that's crazy, and that's why you would appreciate it, right? So when Serato came out, that's when vinyl was so easy, accessible, and music too. Right. That everything became so digital and easy to get that everybody just started getting things, and there was no value of like, I went across the place to go get this. It was more of like, it was emailed to me and I had to meet this person in order to get it, which there was still value in that, but it took away the art of DJing. You know, because now you don't have a collection of things. Now you're supporting artists on a lower level. Yep. These artists aren't getting money for records like they should. You know, now they're not caking as much because you're only paying $1 for a digital sample, and then people figured out, you know, what is that that website where they would Napster, where they would just like rip stuff, things were coming for free, everyone was losing money. That was just like when everything went digital. That's when when you have to really admit that that's when artists were like losing money. That's when, you know, their brands had to branch off into other things to make revenue. So, you know, the Serato came out, then you still really needed to learn how to DJ. Like you still need to know how to put transitions together. But then it got more and more and more advanced and technical, and people started coming up with more ideas, and DJing started getting to be easy. People were starting to get like DJ through their iPhones. Like things were, you know, bartenders were getting hired to DJ, and they would just have one turntable and they would just know how to press play. Like things started to get so easy that everybody's a DJ now. You know, and if you put marketing behind it, and if you put other things behind it, you know, and I know who's behind it. It's the people that do the business, that want to see the money. Right. You know, it's all about money, and we were talking about that. Yes. They discredit the value, and they take the money, and then these people end up being in situations later on in life, like right now. A lot of DJs that don't know how to DJ are hurting because they don't have any culture gigs. Nobody in the hip hop till infinity wants to hire you, right? But you want to be cool like that. You want to be in those spaces because all the cool people are there, and it sucks because you were taught wrong. So it's not more so like you're a whack DJ and you went the wrong direction. It's more of like you should have been guided better. You know, and I tell people all the time. Everyone's like, I want to learn how to DJ. Go to the Beat Junkie school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I want you to learn the right way so that when you learn the right way, it'll make you a better DJ. It'll make you a better producer.
Yeah.
You'll land better gigs. You know what I'm saying? You'll end up making more money. It's an investment to a better future.
Shout out to the Beat Junkie school,
Yeah.
man.
Shout out to the Beat Junkie school. I'm so passionate about that school. So, you know, before I got sidetracked, I went back.
You're back.
Yeah.
You're back.
So, yeah, I went back. So, after the evolution of digital, everything obviously is now crazy in outer space. Like, everything is accessible. Anybody can DJ.
Right.
I said to myself, wow, I lost the, like, there's no relationship between me and the music. I'm going to retire. I'm going to quit. I just don't like it. And my friend was like, don't quit, B. Like, don't quit. I was just like, everything is so bland and dry, and I know it's not me.
Right.
It's the industry.
Yeah, a crisis of faith.
Every time the industry is bland and dry, here's a tip, pivot. Back up. And I'm going to tell people this, back up and just, it's almost like dropping music, you know, back up and pivot. Do something else, learn another skill, and come back when you feel like it's necessary. But don't play the game and settle.
Meander.
Because it's going to make your brand just go down in value.
Yeah.
Just disappear.
Word.
You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I got to stay consistent. I got to stay relevant. Oh, everybody's rocking this club and everybody's at this club. I got to be there. I got to be with this person. I got to stand. No, you don't.
Right.
You're choosing to do that because there's a part of you that is fear of missing out. So you feel like you got to hang out in those spaces. Instead, build on yourself and work on yourself. Add more value to yourself. Learn different programs.
There you go.
Get 10
Diversify that skill set.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So I went back. I went back to Beat Junkie school, and I was like, teach me from the basics, man. And it was the craziest.
Start again.
I said, I'm going to start over. And the craziest thing when we started over is the funniest thing. The first thing they did when we started over, there was like 10 students in the room. And I was sitting there and I was like, wow, I've been in this industry for so long. I feel like a dork, but it's all good. Everybody's new. Some people aren't. And they went around the room and they asked everybody this one question. What do you want to get out of this class? Right? Every single person was like, I want to be the best. I want to battle. I want to, I want to beat, like, blah, blah, blah. They got to me and I was like, man, I just want to be good, man. And I just want to learn. You know, so it shows the mindset of where our environment, like where our people are at now.
Yeah.
You know, they want to compete. They want to cutthroat. They want to. It's just like that's not why we're here.
Yeah.
There's enough for everybody.
What was the name of the song that you came out with the music video for with Cherry Pop?
Oh man! Oh shit! You went to those.
Oh! You didn't think I knew about that one?
It's okay. I take accountability for everything that I do.
I tried to see if I could find the video itself.
Yeah. So Cherry Pop, actually, at that time, we made a ton of music. We got a lot of music, and it's dope, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front it.
It's dope. Every once in a while, you still throw it on.
There's some tracks on there that I'm like, I don't know what the hell that was, but that's trial and error.
Right.
That's what it is. We're developing. We're going into the studio. We're making music. We're figuring out our sound, and we were under the direction of somebody else.
Right.
Right. And then we started kind of going our own way, and then I started finding my own sound. Because naturally, I'm a DJ. That's what I'm going to do. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my own music. So I ended up branching out, and I ended up kind of just going an opposite direction. And when I go back to the music, I'm like, oh, some of that's cool, but it's not really me anymore.
As far back as you can remember. Okay. First memory of music, and first, whatever it was, cassette, CD. Like,
yeah, I'm having
what was it?
Coffee for this one. Interesting. So when I was in the Philippines, I never heard music. When I was,
What?
I just saw TV. I didn't really listen to music because we didn't really have that in our house. It was TV, movies.
Your mother was
yeah.
a movie star.
Yeah, directors, like people would come over and contracts, makeup, like all that stuff. And when I came to America, my brother got a boombox.
Oh shit!
And he was into like Spike Lee, and he was into
do the right thing.
Yeah, he was into Spike Lee, Too Short, Spice One, like he into Two Live Crew. He was into all that, and he would bump the Baker Boys every day. And I would be like, what is going on? I would run and just start dancing to the boombox. And I heard JJ Fad. And I heard Salt and Pepper. And I was like, what is this? And then I would hear even like, I don't even know if it was Power Tools, but there was like, it wasn't Power Tools, it was something else. But it was Power 106, man. It was definitely Power 106. And I remember listening to the boombox, and I would just run, and I would always record the sets. And then I would say, what song is this? And that's the beauty of like figuring things out when you're a kid. Now everything is digital. You just Google.
How do I do this?
Before I would rewind it, I would play it, I would listen to it, I would research it. We didn't even have internet, you know? And then whenever I would get allowance, my mom would say, what do you want? I said, I want singles. I want the 3 for $25 singles at Music Plus or like the Warehouse. You remember that?
CD singles.
Like tapes.
Tapes.
I want those tapes. I want cassette tapes because that.
But they're singles, so we're talking about like maybe 1 or 2 songs on both sides of the cassette.
Yeah, because it was a deal.
Right. Yeah, bundle.
And then I wasn't sure about all the other albums, and I wanted to spend my money on just the singles I knew that were bumping.
You know what I
mean?
Before.
And I would watch Arsenio Hall, and that's when I knew like everybody was like. I would watch Arsenio and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's the song I want. That's the song.
Yeah.
Like, I would plan it all out, and I'd go to the Warehouse, I'd go to Music Plus, and we're like, oh man, these are the singles I want. And that's when I would buy like Bobby Brown, I'd buy Paula Abdul, I'd buy Mariah Carey, I would buy Janet Jackson, like all the amazing icons. I'd always cop all the icons. And then what really impacted me was when I was in school and I had a teacher that was like, if you're good, you're gonna get these things called bonus bucks, and it's money. And he's like, if you earn this money, I thought it was like real currency, you know what I mean? It's like, you earn this, if you're good, you're gonna get these bonus bucks, and then at the end of the month, we're gonna auction things with the bonus bucks that you earned. So however good you are is how much money you're gonna get. So I'd I'd do all my homework. I would do everything, and I had all these bonus bucks, and then at the end of the month, he was like, okay, he would be like, we're gonna have pop, and we're gonna have cookies, and here's what we're auctioning. It was the best idea ever.
Wow.
Best idea ever. And all the kids came around, he was auctioning items, and he auctioned a record player to me. And I won it, and I remember there was 3 records on it. It was Paula Abdul, Cover Girls, and Tiffany. And I didn't know how to get 45s. So it was the same 45s I play over and over.
Open format DJ.
Yeah.
Right? Let's identify it because I think I initially had the wrong impression of what the definition was. So I have a friend of mine who DJs full time, right?
Okay.
And I was like, how would you describe your style? And he was like, oh, I guess open format. And I was like, oh, so I guess that means like you can DJ any genre.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I was like, so what genre scares you? He's like, I wouldn't DJ country music. And I was like, oh, all right. And then watching you on that Twitch broadcast, I got a better sense of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, open format doesn't necessarily mean that you could DJ any genre of music. It means that while you're DJing, you're jumping from genre to genre. Do I have that right?
No.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
Let's educate me.
Open format to each DJ is an open format for you to create a format for yourself. So if he doesn't like country music, he doesn't like country music. He doesn't want to play it.
Right.
But if it's an open format situation, it's like whatever goes of how you feel and how you want to rock the crowd, and crowd analyzation is what I call it. You know, there's like a intuition that DJs have that some don't have. you know, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth. You got to know how to read a crowd. Right? You'll see the energy, and this is what's dope about DJs that first started. We didn't have Serato to tell us the energy levels, the energy of a record. This is how you know a good DJ is how they think, too. You don't need to play the beat of the country song.
Right. You can put the lyrics, put it over something that's more popular.
Yeah, and that's what makes a DJ that knows how to produce more valuable.
Got it.